Harry, this is Lord Potato, and this is What If Naruto ate the Suna no Mi, Part 6, the end. So, of course, this is gonna be end of this What If. I want to finish almost all my other What Ifs, but yeah, because I actually want to start on some new What Ifs, and yeah. Now, what's it called? This What If, yeah, so, I mentioned, I'm not gonna do a recap because I did it like 2 days, well, yeah, 2 days ago, like on Tuesday, and this is Thursday. I was gonna do it yesterday, but I was like, what's it called? My throat was hurting. I don't know what the hell was happening, but yeah, I just didn't do it. I was like, you wanna screw it? I'm not gonna do it. My voice is hurting too much. So of course, this is where we're gonna do it today, or I'm gonna do it today. Blah blah blah. I don't know why I say we. This is in French. I don't know we. I don't know why I'm speaking we in French. So, not the point, not the point. But yeah, so we go into, well, Naruto being 17. Naruto, he has that scar like Crocodile. And he also kind of, well, the reason why he has the scar like Crocodile is because when he was kind of training with Shiroi managed to cut him in the face. And of course, Shiroi was kind of telling him, sorry. But Naruto was fine and he didn't really care. Now, Shiroi was kind of surprised that she actually managed to cut, Naruto in the face. The reason why she actually managed to is because of her nature affinities. Her nature affinities are, well, fire, water, and lightning. So I didn't mention if I did give her chakra affinities, but yeah. Of course, she added water into her sword, managing to actually cut Naruto. Since Naruto is weakened to water, any liquid type, and can actually hurt him physically. So of course, with that happening, Naruto was just like, ugh, no, it's fine. So yeah, of course he has that whole scar, just like Crocodile. So of course, with that happening, well, we actually never knew what happened after Crocodile's scar, did we? I don't remember. But yeah, of course, is where, well, Naruto, he's 17. He is the leader of the, well, the organization called the Barante. Of course, there's like 13 members. And of course, there's like the hierarchy that's like 1 to 5 that are like able to know who is Crocodile or Naruto exactly. Like 6 to, what's it called? 6 to 8 are people in the middle that kind of know, but not really much. And all the way in the bottom are just the lower tiers. So, of course, this is where, what's it called? What's it called? Shiroi, Nico Robin, and what's it called? Sayana are, well, not even in the ranks of what's it called, the 13. They're not rank of anything. They're just with Naruto mostly. They're mostly, not the, like, protectors of Naruto much, but mostly they're just with Naruto's kind of group a little bit. It's kind of a team a little bit. Now, in how Naruto kind of changed the Leaf Village was no more called the Leaf Village, but instead called, well, it was called, how should I say, the Kingdom of, I don't know what to call it, the Kingdom of Dried. Yeah, that's what they call it. Or, not the Kingdom, you know what, he said screw it, the Kingdom of Casinos. So, with Jiraiya being dead, or Chimara also being dead, and Hiruzen being dead, Naruto is considered one of the strongest. Now, of course, he is in the bingo book, but not as, well, Naruto Uzumaki or Crocodile, but as the leader of the Barante organization, as a very, very strong, not even ninja or missing ninja, but just a person. They don't know who he is or how he looks like. But yeah, he managed to take out the Leaf Village and every other, like, what's it called? The other 4 nations, like the Sand Village. The Sand Village does not have a Kazekage because, well, they had to make what's called some random dude a Kazekage because, well, the what's it called? Third Kazekage died and had it, well, I mean, not the third, yeah, third had it to go for Gar, but Gar wasn't there, so yeah. So they had to make some random person the Kazekage. So Shikaku's gonna reform later on, yeah. Of course, this is where, well, the Akatsu's could not even get a hold of into the, what's it called, well, Alabasta. The now, well, renamed village of Leaf Village. So, of course, they tried to send spies into it, but of course, those spies got their heads cut off and sent to the Akatsu saying, fuck off. So yeah, the Akatsuki cannot get any information if they wanted information on Naruto, the Naruto Shinchuriki. They even sent what's called Kisame and Tachi last time, but they have not heard from them again. So yeah. Of course, this is where we go into the other four nations. So I already talked about the Sand Village. We go into the Stone Village. The Stone Village is confused. The Leaf Village has been destroyed by one person in his organization. He wanted to start war with the Leaf Village after the tuning exams, but when he heard about the Leaf Village being destroyed by another unknown force, he actually stopped. But he did still wanted to go against him so he can take the resources. Problem is, the name what's called Alabasta, the new what's called village or kingdom whatever, has defeated two Akatsuki members named Kasame and Itachi. So this is where the Stone Village stopped because he doesn't know how strong these people are. He wanted to send spies also, just like the Akatsuki wanted to do. But those stone spies really got their heads cut off and were sent back to the Stone Village telling to fuck off or we will start war on you and kick your ass and take your fucking property. So yeah. And also the the other like villages, like the Mist Village. The Mist Village, well, the revolution still happened and Mei still became the Mizukage. She didn't really care about the Leaf Village because the Leaf Village really didn't help her. But you know who did help her? When she did kind of ask for the new name, Leaf Village, Alabasta, she asked for some support. And of course, Naruto was willing to support her, if only with three conditions. First, there would be casinos in the not the Leaf Village, casinos in the, Mist Village. Second, he will be able to be in there without being attacked by any person, even if he kind of causes trouble a little bit. And third of all, he can walk through the land to get his targets without any resistance from that person, even if the person was a mist ninja who decides to gamble at his casino places and didn't pay up when he was losing. So those are his three conditions. He had the fourth one, but it's kind of hidden, and he didn't actually said anything about that one. So yeah. So of course he did send some of his ordination people, so different ranks, through He didn't send none of the hierarchy. He sent mostly the medium tier to go help her and all that. So yeah. So pretty much the Myth Village has somewhat an alliance with Alabasta and mostly Naruto. So of course next it is the Cloud Village. The Cloud Village didn't really care about the Leaf Village much, but they have heard how the Hyugas went extinct. So they were kind of confused what the hell actually happened in Leaf Village. They tried to send spies also, finds out later that their spies are dead and the Raikage is pissed. That he was actually thinking of starting war, but when he was actually about to talk to his council and all that, he finds out when he goes into his council room and all the leaders are dead. Everyone is dead. Naruto is there. Just Naruto was there, but of course his face was all covered up in black. And of course there was his five ranking officers. So the number one, so Mr. 1 and his partner, Mr. 2 and his partner, Mr. 3 and his partner, Mr. 4 and 5 and their partners. So yeah. Alright, now just killing the leftover members. Of course, this is where, Naruto, also known as Crocodile, who is about 9'3", I think I talked about? Or was it? It is 8.3, not 8 points. It is 8 feet, 0.36, that's how tall Naruto is. So yeah, of course, he's just smoking a cigarette while sitting down, and A was pissed that he rushes at Naruto, punching him when Naruto did that. Of course, his punch went through him, and of course, Crocodile, also known as Naruto, and with the shadow face, kind of cover up his face and all that, he kind of says, you realize that your village will be dead and in only an instant of seconds. Your army is too weak. Even if you have the 8 tails Jinchuriki, we have the 9 tails, and you realize the 8 tails is weaker than the 9 tails. This is where A kind of just froze and said, I won't care if you even have the 9 tails. Then he realized, how did I not manage to punch him? He was confused, because that was a direct hit towards Naruto. It's just when Naruto exploded, it was only sand and he reformed. So for Naruto, he appears right next to A, and of course this is where A says, damn it, he's gonna try to stab me or something. This is where Naruto, he grabbed him from the neck. And since Naruto's taller than A, because A is... So A is only like 6'5", of course, Naruto's taller than him, and grabs what's called A so easily from the neck. And Naruto says, if you don't want to die, I suggest you piss off and stop trying to go after my village. I know how you react if I would have killed a spy, so that's why I came here into, well, facing you to eye. This is where A said, eye to eye, I can barely even see you. This is where Naruto says, you don't need to know who I am. Not yet. This world does not need to know who I am. This is where A tries to punch at Naruto, but felt like his body is like, his energy is being drained. Mostly it's not his energy, but his, like, what's it called? Water that's inside him. So, since a bunch of people are, okay, humans are made with, like, percentage of water, I think, like, 70%. Yeah, Naruto's, like, drying him up so easily. So, of course, he was about to punch at Naruto, until when the punch was about to hit Naruto, a, well, slash happened, and all you hear is A screaming. Of course, Killer B is doing something else, and also Yagato, or whatever her name was, who was actually the Two Tails, is doing something else also. So, of course, they weren't there to kind of see A and all that. And, of course, A's arm is cut off, because, well, Mr. One has actually cut it off. Because he's, like, made a weapon out of, well, since he's a Kaguya, but also can turn his bones into steel, he cut off what's called A's arm. Of course, there were A screaming. He's like, you bastards! Naruto said, Mr. One, can you take that arm for, well, prized possession later? I want to put that in a museum. Mr. One nodded, and so he took what's called A's arm. And, of course, this is where he puts it in a scroll, and he just seals it up. And this is where A said, you realize you will start a war with me. And Naruto says, you realize your army would have died in an instant. I am the most powerful in my kingdom. I have taken out Hiruzen Sarutobi, Jiraiya of the legendary Sannin, and Orochimaru of also the legendary Sannin. Now, my leftover last Sannin is Tsunade, but you know what? I haven't really found her, and really don't care about finding her. But if she comes back to the village and tries to take it over back again, I will kill her. I'm not caring that much about her. She's maybe a last senju, probably be helpful, but I do not care about senjus or anything. You realize the Hyuga clan has been extinct, so there's no point of you trying to rob a Hyuga from my village, because they're all dead. Yeah, Naruto fully kills them all. He's like, you bastard. But those eyes, they were so fucking useless, Naruto said. This is where A was shocked. Naruto says, the Sharingan was mostly the strongest eye. But you know, since your density going after the weakest eyes in the goddamn Leaf Village, you're going after some goddamn Hyugas. You could have go after the goddamn Sharingan, but your density is stupider. You're all just muscle, no brain. This is where A gets angry. Was about to punch at Naruto until Mr. 4 kick at what's it called? Well, A. So A gets hit in the wall. And this is where Crocodile, who is now known as Naruto, you get the point, or unknown, he just says, you really are just nothing but just muscle. You're such a stupid moron. You know what? I have changed my mind. I'm going to destroy the goddamn Cloud Village with the other two Bijus. I'm not gonna take them hostage. I don't care. If I killed the vessel of the Biju, guess what? I know the Jinchuriki will just reform later on. I don't care that much. That's where A says, I won't let you. Naruto says, doesn't need to be less or nothing. let's go. This is where Naruto, he turns back, and of course his coat just flew in like the air a little bit. Like, somehow flew, even though there's not much air in it. Even though maybe windows kind of open, some windows are kind of broken a little bit. But of course, this is where it kind of just flew in the background of when he turned around. And of course, the others kind of follow Naruto. So Naruto, he just turned all those, like, what's it called, civilians and what's called the council members, except for A. And he says, watch your village burn. And I'll show that old bastard named Inoki how the power is run here. It's where A says, I won't let you, you bastard. This is where Naruto says, to the fuck battle. I didn't ask. This is where, well, A just tried to go after what to call Naruto, but of course he can't get up. He's too weakened. This is where Naruto, he turned all those civilians and all them to like sand and all that, and then he just smashes the sand. So there were some windows, and they just smashed with sand. This is where a bunch of civilians and ninjas were kind of shocked and horrified what is happening at the tower. And of course, there's just sand spilling off, falling down to the civilians. And Naruto says, sand wave of dryness. This is where when the wave hits down into the ground and the civilians are kind of near it, they dry it up and turn to sand. This is where it's just moving around. Of course, it hits some civilians, some of like small like sand dust or like sand particles, even like a splash of sand, just hit some civilians and they turn to sand pretty fast. This is somewhat Naruto's awakening. He can somewhat control sand without even being there. He can just move his hands around and the sand would just go to that place. So this is where Naruto just this is where he now tells, what are you all doing? Go do your job now. All of them says, yes sir, and they all disappear. This is where A is trying to fight against what's called Naruto, but he can't get up. Is it where, well, Killer Bee managed to appear and says, yo brother, what's happening? And Yagato, so, well, I think that's her name, Yagato? Yeah, Yagato, not Yagato, I'm thinking of someone else. The Two Tails appears and says, Ichiraikage, are you okay? This is where Ayo says, yeah, stop that bastard. This is where Naruto turns around and says, he must be the Jinchurikis of the Eight Tails and Two Tails. You think you can stop me? I will become the king of this world. This is where, well, A tried to get up, but he can't, so of course, this is where the Two Tails rushes at, well, Naruto, and tries to kick at him with fire, like, think of it like Sanjin when he kind of put his leg into fire. But of course, she actually just turned her like leg into fire into blue, and tries to, well, the fire is blue mostly, and tries to kick at Naruto. Naruto uses sand to block it. Of course, this is where some of the sand turns to glass, but Naruto didn't mind. This is where Naruto grabbed her with a sand whip on her leg and all that, and just like throw her into the fucking wall. Yeah, the wall. This is where Killer Bee rushes at Naruto with what's it called, his 8 sword style, and start just cutting at Naruto. Naruto's being cut down and all that. And Killer Bee says, yo, you really didn't stand a chance here, yo, something like that, I don't know. So, of course, this is where Naruto reforms and turns back into himself, and says, I'm sorry, Eight Tails. Do I look like I care? It seems your attacks wasn't much affected to me. This is where Killer Bee says, what the hell? What the hell are you? This is where Naruto, he sent just blast of sand hitting, what's it called, the Eight Tails, Killer Bee, hitting him into the wall. Kind of blasting him into the wall, grabbing him, and throwing him back at A. A gets hit with Killer Bee. Killer Bee says, that dude he's strong though. This is where A says, stop rapping. This is a serious matter. This is where they hear what's it called, screaming and crying and all that. Because this is where the Barrington members are right now just killing through what's it called, what's it called, Kiri ninjas and all that, mostly cloud ninjas. Killing them, murdering them. Number one is kind of just shooting bone bullets and all that. And of course, he can regen those bone bullets and all that back into his like fingers and all that. But instead of being normal bone bullets, they are actually kind of made out of steel. So when he's just shooting them, they turn to steel and of course hit people, penetrate them much easier in killing them. Number 2 is right now, well, using all the metal that he managed to turn to dust and all that from people. And of course, he can just like turn it around him. Well, around the like metal dust that he has and all that from people trying to attack him with kunais, swords, katanas, anything like that. And he just turns it all into dust, and this is where he just around him is just dust, metal dust. This is where a bunch of shinobis are standing back. But then it turns all into liquid and just splashes around the shinobis, turning them into steel. This is where the number 2 said, this is so fun. This is where he touches one of the what's called cloud ninjas that were turned into steel and all that, or steel of the weapons and all that, and he turns that ninja into, well, dust, metal dust. And of course he goes up and turns him more into dust and gets more metal like that. So he managed to find an awakening that his power is pretty much, he's able to turn any weapon into dust, turn people into dust, into metal dust when he turns them into metal liquid, like solid metal first, and then, yeah. Of course, is where he then makes a fist, a huge ass fist of metal and all that he managed to gather, like liquid metal, and then turn it to solids. Think of it like how when what's that one guy's name with red hair and One Piece that he lost an arm and all that, but can actually like control a magnet side and all that, and he makes a giant magnet metal arm and all that. Yeah, that's what Mr. 2 does mostly. But he doesn't control metal and all that, but he can turn dust, liquid, and all that. Yeah, you get the point. And it's a solid also. That's where he makes a giant arm and just crushes it onto like a bunch of like shinobi civilians around the leaf village, just crushing them and not carrying that much, killing them mostly. He's like, ha 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 ha. That's where what's it called? His partner says, "You idiot! Don't fucking crush me." Also, this is Mrs. Saturday. So you want, yeah, score Mrs. Saturday. Mrs. Saturday is right now just screaming at Mr. 2, and of course Mr. 2 says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I just art of the style is pretty natural, don't you think?" Is where she says, "You idiot! You could have accidentally crushed the others. You know how Mr. 1 is. He probably would have murdered you." Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I should probably not do it. Yeah, you idiot. Of course, then she says, what if the boss saw you accidentally crush one of his men? He would have turned you to dust. He pales at the sight and says, "That is true." God, he's scary when he's pissed, and scary when he's not pissed. But yeah, okay. So he just stops with a metal arm and all that, crushing things and all that. Of course, Mr. 1 and his like what's it called, Mrs. Christmas are right now kind of fighting together. What's it called? Stabbing and killing at people, turning into ice, and yeah. Mr. 3, I never mentioned about Mr. 3. Mr. 3 is specialized in what's called, well, he specialized in taijutsu, but not just any normal taijutsu. This special kind of like where he turns his fist into fire. And of course, this special taijutsu actually allows him to run pretty fast. Think of it like Raikoku's kind of like fire breathing. So yeah, his is kind of similar to that, but he doesn't use it as a sword or anything. He uses his fists and legs to kick and burn people and all that. And of course, with his like what's it called, partner named Mrs. Halloween, there's pretty much a good teamwork because Mrs. Halloween uses what's called illusion, what's called genjutsu, a monster to come to fight against some people and all that. And they are partnered up because, well, one uses taijutsu only and doesn't really fucked up with the genjutsu and all that. And of course, the genjutsu can actually assist them in fights. So yeah, this is where we're going to Mr. Ford and Mrs. Well, how should I say, Mrs. Thanksgiving. So of course, this is where Mr. Ford and Mrs. Thanksgiving. Mrs. Thanksgiving can summon out turkeys and be able to kill at people. Summon out turkeys to kind of hunt people, make them either big or small and all that. And she can also make a feather sword to easily slice at people. So of course, this is where Mr. Ford specialized is in what's it called? So this is kind of a newish Kenkai called Autumn Style. So this is where he allows to every tree kind of turn into a reddish orange type, but he can actually control the leaves like that, and actually kind of send them at people, like a how should I say? It kind of like it's a mixture of wind and what's called kind of fire. So the leaves just send at people and all that, cut them down, but you can turn the leaves into fire. He can also kind of make what's called trees grow up and their leaves kind of turn into fire and all that. So yeah, of course that's how he got partnered with Mrs. Thanksgiving and all that. But yeah, next it is Mr. Five and Mrs. Mr. Five and Mrs. Summer. Now Mrs. Summer is basically she can turn her body into fire, like what's called Fireman from the Incredible Four, whatever they're called mostly. I forgot what they're really called. But she can turn into fire and really burn to people, and people won't be able to hurt her that much. So yeah, her hair goes into like a orangey kind of color and all that. Now Mr. Five, his kind of specialized is kind of water. So of course he was only paired up with Mrs. What's it called? Mrs. Summer because of his water type. Because his water, he's able to cool down Mrs. Five if she ever like overheats and all that. But he is able to also kind of create water without any natural water source being around. So think of it like the second Hokage. So that's why he's kind of 5. He's rank 5. Of course, he isn't as strong as like the second Hokage, but he is pretty damn strong. He's able to use water style, natural water style, and even what's it called? If he even gets hit by lightning style, he can actually be able to absorb the lightning style and use it against someone else. So his specialized is actually called his Kekkei Kenkai is called Ryu. Basically, he's able to use thunder and water, but he can also like what's called create both of his mix his both specialized in thunder and water together to make a thundercloud. Basically, he can make a thunderstorm happen, and the thundercloud can actually rain down thunder to the ground, or also make tornadoes or water, making the water kind of sharp enough to stab people. So yeah, of course, this is where he's like right now just beating up some of the killing some of the cloud ninjas that are trying to use the lightning style on him, but he can absorb it and use it back towards them. But yeah. And Mr. Summer is right now burning through a bunch of them. Now, you go back into what? Naruto. Naruto is right now easily destroying the 2 tails and 8 tails. He even went into using KCM a little bit, but of course his face didn't actually, remove the shadow and all that. So of course this is where they're shocked and saw the KCM. This is where Killer Bee and the 2 tails, the 9 tails. This is where A is shocked. This is where Naruto, he appears right in front of the 2 tails and turn her body into nothing but sand. Just barely even a tap of touch in her neck, and just turn into fully dust. This is where Killer Bee says no. Hey, 2 tails. I don't remember her name much, so yeah, I'm not gonna go search up. But yeah, this is where he says no, you bastard, and tries to use a water style at Naruto. Naruto, he grabs he put his hand out. And when the water side was about to collide with Naruto, it turns into nothing but sand. But nothing but dust sand. So yeah, Naruto dried up so fast. Naruto's weakness has become his strength. This is where Naruto, he then makes a what's called sandstorm. But when he throws it at Killer Bee, it hits Killer Bee, but it actually cuts multiple of his body parts. So his arms, legs, and all that, even his head, killing Killer Bee. This is where Ao's like, no, you bastard. Naruto was already in front of the car. Ao and pulls out one of his eyes, then stabs one of his legs by cutting it off. This is where Killer Bee, Ao is screaming. Naruto says, this is the pain you have, afflicted on yourself. I am a god. Well, I am not a god. I am a king, and you shall never go against me. Naruto finally grabs Ao and kind of lifts him up towards the broken entrance that Naruto made, and kind of lifts him up, and he says goodbye and perish, turning him to sand, and sand just falls down. This is where he sees the, what's it called, Cloud Village. And the Cloud Village is nothing but unravel fire and everything is happening. Destroy buildings, crush buildings, stabbing through ninjas and civilians. Yeah, you see. So everything's happening. Naruto saying, good. This village is now destroyed. I can now rebuild another kingdom in this place. Naruto's laughing. Of course, he turned off KCM and all that. Now, but he also kind of senses called the Akatsuki being near. Hidan and what's it called, not Kabuto, Katsu came in and say, so we're looking for the Two Tails and Eight Tails, right? Of course, when they walk in, they barely even notice the fire and crushed buildings. But of course, the other members of Barachi saw them, and well, they were about to go towards what we call the Akatsuki, until Naruto stopped them by making a sign right in front of them, telling them to stop. Of course, they all were confused, but Naruto says, I want to have more fun. So, of course, they all stand down and all watch from a far distance, not trying to get caught in Naruto's range. Because Naruto's range is pretty fucking big. It is huge. He can turn anything to sand. That's where Naruto appears and says, hello, you there, you two? It's a little bit too late since you're going after the Two Tails and Eight Tails, right? This is where this is where both of them kind of nod, and they say, what do you mean we're a little too late? Naruto says, well, it seems that I turned them to sand, so it seems that you two are a little too late for that. This is where both Kakuzu and Hidan just widen their eyes and just say, what? Kakuzu says that's impossible, unless you're that 7S rank star ninja that no one actually knows about. Your face is never shown, and of course I can see why. The shadow is kind of covering it up. But of course I can still see smoke coming off of your face. Guessing you're smoking. This is Naruto say, aye, you're right. You're very, very right. I don't really like the Akatsuki members because they're going to have to go after me later. This is where both of them kind of like go, what? After you? But why would we? Unless you're the unless you're a Jinchuriki. They look at Naruto and when they kind of like thought in their mind and look back to where Naruto's at, they didn't see where Naruto's at. He disappeared. They're like, what the? Where did he go? Now, of course, they're standing on sand because they haven't even noticed the sand, and they're like, what the? Why is there sand here? Why is there sand everywhere? Holy shit, did he destroy this village? Oh my god. So I see. We gotta report this to our leader. Hidan says, but can I at least hurt him? Try to, bitch. I'm actually gonna report to the leader. God, we found the nine tails. Maybe I get to pay. I get paid more. This is where Hidan says, I don't care, I'll find him. Naruto appears and says, yo, you say you are gonna hurt me? Hidan says, yep, and die. Cuts Naruto in half. This is where the Naruto members are actually seeing this pretty far because they had what's it called what is those things called, that a microscope or whatever that pirates use and all that to see far away and all that. And of course they see Hidan just cut their leader, but they already know that their leader can fucking regen in such incredible speed. He cannot get hurt by physical attacks. So this is where Hidan says, ha ha ha, I killed that nine tails. Look at this, Kakuzu. Kakuzu already tipped. He's like, what? Kakuzu, where the hell did you? Naruto had his hand at back of Hidan's neck and says, did you really kill me? Or did you really think I would even die? Physical attacks cannot hurt me. Hidan was kind of, what the fuck? This is where Naruto just smashes like face into the ground. So of course Kakuzu was like running towards the car out of the village and all. Naruto made a hand sign and all that for, well, the other Barancha members to go after the Akatsuki and kill him. And of course Naruto has kind of found information about Kakuzu, about in another village that he was from, that he took some forbidden stuff from a spy that he has had. So of course where, well, the Barancha members already know what to do with Kakuzu. He's not immortal, he just has 5 hearts, so destroy those 5 hearts and he's dead. And also destroy his body and all that. Burn it, I don't care what you do. So of course, they all nodded and they all disappeared. Because Naruto, he doesn't have, well, he didn't do like he did a hand sign and all that, but to communicate them with what's it called? Seals called transmitters and all that. Of course, all of them nodded and they all disappear. What's it called? Hidan got back up and tried to slash out what's it called Naruto multiple times, but every time he does it, there's no blood coming off and there's no blood on his side. Naruto's turning back into sand, and this is where Hidan says, "What the hell are you? What kind of demon are you?" Naruto says, "I'm not a demon, I'm a king, and you are getting in my way. So, before I kill you, tell me a little bit about the Akatsuki. Why are they trying to go after the Bijus and why that?" Hidan says, "Oh, you think you can kill me? I'm immortal, and why the hell should I tell you any information about that?" Naruto, he grabs Hidan's arm and he cuts it. And of course, he doesn't see Hidan regen another arm. Hidan screams and says, "Ah, you fucking bastard! Give me back my arm!" Naruto says, "So you say you're immortal. Can this hand, like, can you regen your hand? Or are you just immortal of your physical body?" This is where Hidan said, "Doesn't matter, give me back my arm." Tries to, like, slash at Naruto, and that doesn't do jack shit. Again, Naruto, so he just decides to dry up Hidan's arm fully and turns into nothing but sand. That's where Naruto says, "Interesting. It seems you're not immortal. You might be immortal if you put your arm back, but it must be just regeneration. Very high regenerations, but you're not immortal." That's where Hidan says, "Oh really? You think I'm not immortal? Then I guess I have to show you true immortality." That's where Naruto Gore grabs from the neck and says, "You can show me that in the afterlife, when I become immortal and you don't." This is where he turns Hidan's body into nothing but sand, because Hidan is not really immortal. He just has very, very high regenerations and he can't really die from his head and all that. That's where Naruto fully just turns into sand and, well, he's dead. So yeah. So of course, this is where, well, Naruto, he is just walking towards, well, his group and all that. And when he gets to where his group is at, they all, well, he sees a metal bone in Kakuzu's body, what's it called, a metal just rod in one of his hearts and all that, and his back and all that. A, what's it called, Mr. 3, I forgot his specialized and all that. A, like, sword feather on, like, the person's back. Oh yeah, Mr. 3 was only Taijutsu master, so of course he managed to just have one of Kakuzu's hearts, so it's just a massive crushing in his hand. And of course, Mr. 5, he just looks at it and doesn't really do anything. He just looks at the heart and he just says, "Do I really have to destroy this? It looks like an artifact for me to have." So Mr. 5 is successful with artifacts and all that. This is where, well, what's it called? Mrs. Summer grabbed what's called Mr. 5, what's called artifact of the heart, and just burns and crushes it. And decides to burn Hidan's, well, not Hidan's, Kakuzu's body and destroy it. So yeah, no reanimation for Kakuzu, so yeah. So of course, this is where they look back and they see, well, Naruto walking upon them. This is where they all bow down and says, "Have you taken care of the other Akatsuki member?" Naruto says, "Yes. Now let's go back to Alabasta. I am a little tired in destroying this village. But I need to bring what's called builders and repairers to repair this village, because this is now one of my new kingdoms. Now, I will need one of you to become, well, the leader of this kingdom where you get more villagers. Not villagers of the old, right here village, but new people." And so, yeah, just like how Alabasta is, we'll be making casinos in this place also. This is where all of them nodded, and this is where they all disappear. Naruto just turns into sand and disappear. So right now, this is where, well, Soroi is right now sitting in Naruto's chair as, like, the king and all that. And she's very, like, comfy in his chair. She's just, like, relaxing and all that. Of course, there's a table and she just had her legs on it. And of course, this is where, well, Nico Robin says, "Isn't it stupid for you to put your legs on there?" This is where Soroi says, "It's fine, he doesn't mind it." This is where Sayuna says, "Whatever. I don't really want to get in trouble or anything like that. That's where Shoto says, oh really? So you don't want to be in the car. Before she even gets to say anything, Naruto appears and says, Shoroi, move out of my spot. This is where Shoroi, she jumped because she was scared, because holy shit, Naruto always does stupid, well, not stupid things like this. She always thinks that Naruto does this on purpose and all. And so she says, what the hell? Can't you say you're here without being kind of, how should I say, appearing out of nowhere? Naruto says, no. That's how I like to keep it, because, well, I don't like showing my face, and I don't like showing anything. So Naruto releases the Kenjutsu and shows his face. And, of course, Nico Robin says, so, I'm guessing you destroyed the, Cloud Village because you took a little too long. Naruto says, of course, Nico Robin. Do you really think I wasn't? Now, Nico Robin's parents are still alive. She, what's it called? She wanted Naruto not to kill them, so yeah. There are actually, what's it called, nobles in the village right now. But yeah. Well, they were made nobles, but yeah. Now, this is where Sayana says, do you really have to destroy another village? Don't you already have enough power in the Mist Village? This is where Naruto says, yes, I do. But the Cloud Village was seriously pissing me off. The Raikage was nothing but just a muscle head. And no brains, just nothing but bronze. An idiot. That's why I had to destroy him. And destroy some pesky Akatsuki members. Now, Sayana, have any of the other spies talked about about the Akatsukis? Or any information about them? So Sayana is actually considered to be the spy leader. And she just says, no, none of them really said anything. This is where Naruto looks at Jiraiya and says, do you want to be kind of a queen, a part of, well, a new village or town? This is where Jiraiya kind of perked up and says, what do you mean? Naruto says, well, since I destroyed the, well, old Cloud Village, I will have to need to make someone a leader in it. So they can check and all the balance of like making money and all that. This is where Shoroi thinks about it, and then she like, what's it called, shaked her head saying no. And Naruto was kind of frowning. He was like, then why do you keep sitting in my what's it called, throne? This is where Shoroi says it's comfy. You can't just say it's not. Naruto sits down and says, I mean it is, but that doesn't mean anything. Why don't you want to become the leader? Shoroi says, I'm not a leader type. I was never a leader type. I'm mostly somewhat of a follower a little bit, but yeah. That's where Naruto narrows his eyes and says, whatever. That's where he looks at Nico Robin. Nico Robin, her only goal is to kind of look around information. She's kind of like Orochimaru to find new jutsus, new things and all that, but she isn't trying to find immortality. So yeah, she doesn't really care about that. She's just learning about the history. And this is where, well, Naruto looks at Nico, and Nico says, don't even think of dragging me in here. I wasn't sitting in your chair, so don't drag me in here. Naruto sighs and says, well, but I'm gonna have to send you and Shoroi towards the Cloud Village. That's where Nico says, why me? Naruto says, don't you want to find the information of the Cloud Village? You said you wanted more information and different jutsus and all that. Nico says, damn it. Fine, I'll go with her. This is where Naruto smiles, and he does do a genuine smile, and of course it's kind of creepy, but it's not that much creepy. So of course they just says, can you stop smiling like that? Naruto says, fine. But whatever. That's where Naruto, he goes on his, what's it called, desk, pull out some paper, and start writing something. This is where, well, Nico says, do you want me to bring out, what's it called, a bird for it to be brought, I'm guessing, to the builders? That's where Naruto nods, and of course Nico does summon a bird and all that. It's actually what's called a robin and all that. And of course the robin does bring the, what's it called, note towards some builders to go to the Cloud Village, and Naruto will pay them. So Naruto said, what to do next? Probably get rid of the Stone Village? Nakage, Oniki will probably be the best. Or should I get rid of the whole village? What do you think, Sarina? Sarina says, the information I got from that place was, well, that the, Stone Kage, the, Oniki, or whatever his name is wanting to start a war with us because how? Well, he wants the resources. And a bunch of stone, council members are actually agreeing. So, they're about to start war next year when you turn 18. And like that date of being October the 10th. Naruto thinks about it and says, if he wants a war, I can bring it way earlier than was caught him wanting to do it. But, that also reminds me. What about the Akatsu's? Have no information on them? The Akatsu's contain of a couple of members I managed to get. Deidara, Deidara, a rogue ninja from, the Stone Village. Naruto nodded. Sorcery, a rogue ninja from, the Sand Village. Naruto nodded. This is where Naruto stops her and says, what about the Sand Village? Is there any information on that? The Sand Village is right now being weakened and all that. Because, well, the person that's running it is such a dumbass for it. Naruto says, then I have to take that place first, and then I'll take the Stone Village. What about the Mist Village? That's where she says, the Mist Village is right now stabilized, and its economy is doing kind of good and all. So yeah, there's not much problem except for the Three Tails did reform, but right now it's just swimming around. Naruto nodded. Okay, tell me about the Akatsuki leaders now. Or Akatsuki members or leaders or whatever. Then she goes on with finding that she actually found this one creature looking thing or whatever. Its name is Black and White Sesu, and it allows him to kind of go into the ground. And cannot really be found easy that much. Even if you use chakra sense. But for you, I'm guessing you can just use the ground and sense where he's at and turn that place into sand. When you awaken your devil fruit. Or awakening Kekkei. Naruto never talked about it being a devil fruit or anything. Nico knows it's a devil fruit, but she doesn't say anything. The other way, well, Naruto nodded and says, okay, good. Well, it's time for me to go do something. That's where she said, what were the other Akatsu's? Alright, the other Akatsu's. Okay, can you tell me about them? So I'm guessing you win against Hira and Kakuzu because they were going against the 2 Tails and 8 Tails. Yeah, done with them. Itachi, Uchiha, and Kasame are right now in the Leaf Village. Well, Itachi's mostly in prison, Kasame's dead. Yep. What about the others? Someone named Konan. She has blue hair and kind of brownish eyes. And has like a kind of like origami, some kind of flower in her head. Now, of course, she is supposed to be called the Angel of God, since she's able to use paper as her jutsus. Naruto says paper, interesting. Then, who is God exactly for her? God is, well, the leader of the Akatsu's, which I'm guessing is not the true leader. His name is Pain, and he has the Renegon. Naruto says Renegon. Interesting. Maybe I'll destroy the eye and see what the hell will happen next. And this is where she says, he has 6 paths, and the real path controller I don't know. Well, I managed to find him. He's a red-haired guy, I'm guessing he's an Uzumaki, that's able to kind of control these paths somewhat. But the red hair seems to be crippled. Naruto nods, and then he said, what about the true leader? The true leader, I'm guessing, is someone named Toby. This is where Naruto narrowed his eyes and said, Toby? What the fuck is that name? I don't know, not exactly knowing, but it's a guy with an orange mask that can actually use some kind of teleportation juice that allows him to teleport or even go untangible. Naruto nods and says, how do you know about this? I tried to attack him once and he almost defeated me, but I managed to escape using a water clone. Naruto nodded. He said, okay, good. You stay in this village, and if anything happens, just warn the other Baratie members. Well, I should probably tell them now. This is where he went to, well, make a hand signal for a transmitter for all the Baratie members to go towards his office. And he does tell, well, his spy leader to explain the cutscenes and all that. Also, the Baratie members nodded. And this is where Naruto then asked to try, well, the mid-tier level, what's it called? The mid to lower tier members of the Baratie are going to the Sand Village to conquer it, while his higher tiers and him are, well, not higher tiers, his higher tiers are going towards the Stone Village. And then they ask Naruto what he's gonna do, or mostly their leader. And he says, I'm going to find the Akatsuki and get rid of them for the last goddamn time. I do not want it to go after the Jinchuriki because I don't care about it right now. But whatever they're trying to do and trying to get the Jinchuriki, it's not good. But a lower tier, middle tier, if you do see anyone trying to go after the One-Tails, kill him, murder them. If there are Akatsuki members or just Sand Shinobis. I do not want them to get any stronger. So they nod. And of course, it's where he looks at his higher tiers. Any Akatsuki members show up for the 4 tails of 5 tails, kill them. And also kill the 4 tails of 5 tails. With destroying the Stone Village. This is where he then just said, for me, I will find where are they at? At the Rain Village. For me, I will go to Rain Village and destroy everything. This is where some of them ask, what about the rain style? This is where Naruto says, don't worry about that. No one needs to know about any of this. Now dismiss and go now. This is where all of them nod and disappear. This is where Zaina says, do you want me to go with you to the Rain Village? Naruto, he just like shaked his head and said, no, it's fine. You can stay here and be kind of pretty. And this is where Zaina blushes and says, what the hell is wrong with you? Naruto says, don't mind what I'm doing. Naruto did put on his Genji before telling the Baratie members to come. But this is where Naruto, he disappeared now. With just a warp of sand disappeared. He's right now flying in the mid-air, kind of using his sand side to kind of make him fly and all that. So yeah. But with that happening, Naruto's right now going to the Cloud Village. Oh, not Cloud Village, to the Rain Village. When he gets to the Rain Village, or kind of near the Rain Village border, he sees that everything is raining around that village. Naruto, he likes his Kurama. Do you think we can awoken at the same time use your power? Kurama says, yeah, I think we can. This is where Naruto, he combines both KCM with his awakening of Devil Fruit, and what it increases his range and everything. Just off the charts. Everything went off the charts. Also, Naruto did add his chakra and his Devil Fruit towards it. So yeah. Also, he found out he does have Hawkins. He does have Armor Hawking and Arbitration Hawking, but Conqueror Hawking doesn't. So he even adds Armor Hawking into his sand to make it way stronger. This is where he uses his Devil Fruit now, and the crown appears. A sand crown appears around him, and this is where it kind of just he just like uses what's called his sand or his hand to kind of lift up both of them and kind of dry up all the water that's falling down to the ground. All the clouds are now turning into sunny, and this is where multiple ninjas are confused. But this is where a huge wave of sand just collide with the village, killing a bunch of ninjas and civilians. This is where, well, Nagato widened his eyes and said, what the? Conan says, what has happened, Nagato? Black Zetsu and Obito are right now just going, what the hell is happening? So right now, who is going to go get the One-Tails? And yeah, it's Deidara and Sasori. They are the last members that are standing. But yeah, they are not trying to fail this mission. But when they get to the Sand Village, when they manage to get there, they see that the village is right now in chaos and fire. This is where the lower tier and medium tier noticed the Akatsuki members and went to go fight them. Well, mostly the medium tiers. But yeah, the lower tiers did also kind of went, well, number 7 went to go help, but yeah. Or not 7, Mr. 9 went to help, but yeah. The others lower tiers are now destroying the what they call Sand Village. But yeah. Now we go into the Stone Village, and of course the higher tiers, the 5 rankings. Alright, now just destroying the Stone Village, fucking it up, and sending it straight to hell. They are really just fucking up the village. Oniki did try to use his particle style on what to call, Mrs. Summer. And when he used it, it didn't affect Mrs. Summer that much because Mrs. Summer did manage to split her body into like fire and all that. Like 6 pieces of fire and just split and then reformed back again. She used this technique, copied this technique just like how her leader does. How her leader kind of uses sand style. So yeah, she just copied it because it would be very helpful to dodge very powerful attacks. Of course, she drained out her chakra, but this one Mr. 3 appears out of nowhere and punches Onoki in the face. Well, not Onoki. He managed to leap off a building and knock his ass out. His old ass out. Of course, this is where Kurosuke is right now. Yeah, the girl who is the daughter or granddaughter of Onoki, right now fighting against Mr. 3 after Mr. 3 kind of clocked Onoki in the face. Now, this is where he's fighting against her, and yeah. Of course, the others are right now just dealing with some of the ninjas, but easily killing them. Now, Deidara and Sasori are right now on the ground because of the different ranks, because they really just whooped their asses. But yeah, Naruto. We go back into Naruto. Naruto is right now just right now dealing with the 6 path of pain. They try to fight against Naruto, but Naruto, he just needs to touch them once and all that, and they all just turn into dust, just sand and dust. This is where Nagato is shocked and horrified. This is where Obito appears and says, you must be the Naruto Shinjuki. But it seems that you have walked into a trap. This is where Naruto, he touches the ground and turns into sand. Killing, Black Zetsu and White Zetsu because he just turned them also into sand. He says, what trap? Also, when he killed Black and White Zetsu, he even uses sand to go all the way deeper because he felt multiple chakra signatures. It's because of the White Zetsus. He turned them all into sand. He says, if you're talking about the White Zetsu army, I have turned them all into sand. It's just you and God. But you won't be much of a challenge with it. Now, Obito gets angry, grit his teeth, and rushes at Naruto. Naruto, he throws the kunai. Of course, the kunai, like Kamui, goes through what's called Obito. And of course, this is where Obito thinks that Naruto is going to appear right in front of him. But sand appeared from underneath Obito, grabbed him from the leg, and just smash him towards Naruto. Naruto managed to grab him from the neck, and Obito wasn't in Kamui, untangible. That's where Naruto, he says, die, turns him to nothing but sand. That's where Naruto is now going to go fight Conan and Pain. Nagato mostly. Conan tries to use paper style, but Naruto, he was so fast that he appears right in front of her and grabs her from the face and turns her into sand. Now we go into, Shoroi and Nico Robin. They actually met what's called Tsunade in the road and all that. And of course, Tsunade, she was confused, but Shoroi wanted to fight her, so yeah. Of course, Nico Robin had to fight against Shizune, but yeah. Now, of course, Shoroi is right now, her techniques are so much powerful because she can use water, fire, or lightning into her sword, but she combines them all together and adds poison to her sword and rushes at what's called Tsunade, cutting her head off. This is where Shizune says, no, Tsunade. This is where Nico Robin grabbed her using her, Devil Fruit also. And of course, multiple hands appear and just cracked Shizune's head off. So yeah. So the Stone Village is right now destroyed, somewhat. They actually, the Stone Village, some of them didn't want to die. But of course, who cares? The 5 hierarchy members, so hierarchy, really just destroy them. Didn't give 2 fucks, but yeah. This is where also, the lower tiers and medium tiers have also destroyed what's called Deidara and the Sand Village, but yeah. Naruto, he went to go fight against Nagato, and Nagato says, almighty push, and pushes Naruto. Doesn't do jack shit to Naruto, because he just turned his body to sand and appeared right next to Nagato, and says, give me those eyes. Plucked them eyes and turned them to sand, and then grabs Nagato from the head and says, "Die." But this is where we're going to a time skip about 5 years. So, what have happened after 5 years? Naruto actually kind of, became the leader of the world. Well, not much. Of the 5 countries, mostly. Of course, he does have an alliance with what's called the Mist Village. But yeah. Of course, he kind of also made what's called the Stone Village the queen for what's called Nico, and for Sayana to be the queen of, the Sand Village, which she didn't like it at all. But instead, she actually stayed in Alabasta, so that means the Leaf Village. Of course, Naruto made what's called the Sand Village the actual Alabasta he wanted to make, because he can now naturally control sand and all that. But of course, he also have kids. Naruto did kind of marry what's called Shiroi, Sayana, and also Nico to actually have kids. Now, of course, Naruto has about 8 kids in total, but yeah. Now, of course, they're all able to kind of use sand a little bit, but not much of like a Devil Fruit and all. So yeah. So wait, can that even happen? Well, Devil Fruit used her mixed with the kid. Would I be able to give them a Devil Fruit? Well, screw it. I don't know if that actually is possible, but I'm gonna just say sure, why not? So yeah. Of course, Naruto has now, he is now the age of, he is the age of 22, and he does kind of wear gold and all that, because he is a king of a sand village and all that. But that's mostly Alabasta, so yeah. But this is where I'm gonna leave it off end it off mostly. So, also I should forget to mention, variety members are right now kind of like royal kind of guard for Naruto and his children. So yeah, I forgot to mention that. But yeah. So yeah, this is where I'm gonna leave it off. End it off. Have a nice potato day, potato night, potato seed, potato, and potato. I'm going to go also finish with What If Naruto Was a Reincarnation of Don't See Flamingo. So yeah. But that's all I'm going to do for this. But yeah, have a nice potato day, potato night, and potato seed. But I already said that like multiple times. But yeah, potato.